After my graphic design clients dried up during the first wave of lockdowns, I fell back on the one thing that guaranteed a paycheck: driving for Uber. Most nights were a blur of the same old thing: airport runs, closing time bar crowds, quiet commuters. You become a temporary, invisible fixture in people's lives. But one rainy Tuesday in November, I became a part of a story I never wanted to be in. The ping came in around 1 a.m. The pickup was downtown, outside a high-end restaurant that had probably just closed. The name on the request was Michael, but the note attached to the ride immediately set my teeth on edge. It read, "Picking up my wife, Elena. She had a little too much to drink. Please just get her home safely. The address is correct." It felt a little controlling, but I'd had requests like this before. I figured it was just a concerned husband. I pulled up to the curb. A woman was standing alone under the restaurant's awning, huddled against the drizzling rain. She matched the profile picture: dark hair, slight build. She looked exhausted. I rolled down the passenger window. "Elena?" I asked. She flinched, then nodded quickly, pulling the door open and sliding into the back seat. She didn't say a word, just stared out the window at the blurred city lights, clutching a small black leather purse in her lap like a life raft. I started the trip. The destination was about 25 minutes away, in a wealthy, secluded suburb full of winding roads and massive houses hidden behind gates and trees. For the first 10 minutes, the only sounds were the rhythmic thump of the windshield wipers and her quiet, shaky breaths. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Her face was pale and her eyes were wide, scanning the road behind us. She didn't look drunk. She looked hunted. Then, my phone, mounted on the dash, lit up with a message through the Uber app. From Michael. It said, "Is she okay?" Before I could even think of how to respond, another one came through. "Is she talking to you?" I saw Elena's eyes flick to the screen in the mirror. A shiver went through her. She leaned forward slightly, her voice barely a whisper, so quiet I almost didn't hear it over the rain. "Please," she said, "don't answer that." I kept driving, my hands tightening on the wheel. A few moments later, the phone lit up again. "Why aren't you answering? She needs to come home." Elena saw it too. Her breath hitched. She leaned closer, her voice cracking with desperation. "He's not my husband," she whispered. "Please, I can't go to that house. Please, can you just take me somewhere else? Anywhere public, a gas station, a diner, anywhere." The GPS was telling me to turn right, to follow the route, to do the job I was being paid for. But my gut was screaming at me. Every driver has a story about a ride that felt wrong, a moment where you have to make a choice that isn't in the training manual. If you've ever trusted your gut over the rules, let me know by liking this video. It's a strange feeling, being responsible for a stranger's fate. I didn't reply to her. I just kept driving straight, ignoring the GPS as it frantically tried to reroute me. Michael's messages turned into a phone call through the app. I denied it. He called again. I denied it again. In the back, Elena was silent, watching me with a terrified, pleading expression. I saw a brightly lit 24-hour diner up ahead, an island of safety in the dark. I pulled into the parking lot and put the car in park. "Here," I said. "Are you going to be okay?" She burst into tears, a flood of pure relief. "Thank you," she sobbed. "Thank you so much." She scrambled out of the car and ran inside the diner without looking back. I watched until she was through the doors, then I ended the trip, marking it as complete. I felt like I'd done the right thing. My phone chimed almost instantly. A new ride request. I was about to decline it and head home, but I glanced at the screen. The pickup location was the diner I was parked at. The name on the request was Elena. I figured she needed to go to a friend's house now that she was clear. I accepted it. The rear door opened and she got back in. But something was different. She wasn't crying anymore. She sat upright, her posture poised. The fear was gone from her eyes, replaced by a calm, unnerving stillness. She placed her purse on the seat beside her and smiled at me in the rearview mirror. It was a thin, cold smile. "Thank you for that," she said, her voice smooth and confident now. I just needed to be sure. I was confused. Sure of what? That he wasn't following you. She chuckled softly, a sound that made my blood run cold. Oh, Michael, she said, picking up her phone. He's not a problem anymore. He was my last ride. She turned her phone screen toward me. On it was the Uber driver app, my application, but it was her account. And there, at the top of her screen, was the new trip request she had just sent me. The destination was already programmed. It was the original address, the one in the secluded, wealthy suburb. She leaned back, her smile widening. You know, it's so hard to get people to go somewhere they don't want to go, she said calmly. But it's amazing what they'll do if they think they're being a hero. My heart stopped. The trip with Michael had vanished from my history, replaced by this one, a trip I had just accepted. With her. She was in my car, and I was her driver. She looked at me in the mirror, her eyes gleaming in the dim light of the diner's parking lot. Don't worry, she said. I'll tell you where to turn. Just start driving. Every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But some stories, you don't get to hear the end of. If you want to keep exploring the darkness on the edge of town, subscribe to the channel, because you never know who's going to get in your car next. Back when I was driving for Uber to make ends meet, I learned that the city changes completely after midnight. The busy streets become empty and quiet, and the people you pick up are different. You meet people who are trying to forget their night, or maybe trying to escape it. I thought I had seen it all, the happy drunks, the silent sad ones, the angry couples. But nothing prepared me for the man I picked up one foggy autumn night. The request came in around 2 a.m. The name was just Thomas, with no picture. The pickup location was strange. It wasn't a bar or a house, but the entrance to a public park that had been closed for hours. I figured he was just using the park as a landmark. The drop-off was a residential address on the other side of town, a solid 30-minute drive. It seemed like an easy, straightforward trip. When I pulled up to the park, I saw him standing just outside the tall iron gates. He was a thin man, wearing a simple button-up shirt that was a little too big for him and dark pants. He was holding a small brown paper bag, crinkling it in his hand over and over. He wasn't looking at his phone. He was staring up at the empty, dark trees inside the park. As I got closer, he turned and looked at my car, then walked over and opened the back door. He got in without a word. You Thomas? I asked, just to be sure. He gave a short, quiet nod. I started the trip and asked him, Is the address in the app correct? He answered, Yes, that's it, in a voice that sounded tired and weak, like he hadn't spoken in a very long time. I started driving, and the car filled with an uncomfortable silence. The only sound was the soft hum of the engine and the constant, nervous crinkling of the paper bag in his hands. I glanced in the rearview mirror a few times. He wasn't looking out the window or at his phone. He was just staring straight ahead, at nothing. About 10 minutes into the drive, the silence became too much for me. I tried to make some small talk to lighten the mood. Long night? I asked, trying to sound friendly. He stopped crinkling the bag for a moment. He took a long, slow breath and then said, You have no idea. The way he said it sent a small shiver down my arm. It wasn't angry or sad, just empty. So I decided it was better to stay quiet and just drive. We finally reached the neighborhood for his drop-off. It was a nice quiet area with big houses and clean lawns. The GPS led me to a pretty 2-story house with a light on in the upstairs window. It looked warm and welcoming. I pulled into the driveway and put the car in park. Here we are, I said, trying to sound cheerful. He didn't move. He didn't even look at the house. He just kept staring forward, his knuckles white as he squeezed the paper bag. Is everything okay? I asked. He slowly turned his head and looked at the house. He watched the light in the upstairs window for a long time. Then he whispered, so quietly I almost couldn't hear him, She's still awake. He then opened the car door, got out, and walked up the pathway toward the front door, leaving the car door open behind him. He stopped right in front of the door, but didn't knock or try to open it. He just stood there, his shoulders slumped. I waited. A full minute passed. I was about to call out to him when he suddenly turned around and walked quickly back to the car. He got back in the back seat and shut the door. I can't, he said, his voice shaking. I can't do it. Please just take me back. I was confused. Take you back where? I asked. Back to the park, he said. Please, I'll add a big tip. He was begging now. The feeling that something was deeply wrong is a powerful thing. It's a quiet alarm bell ringing in your soul. If you've ever felt that alarm and had to make a hard choice, let me know by liking this video. It's a lonely feeling, and it helps to know you're not alone. I told him he needed to put the new destination in the app, that it was the only way. He just shook his head frantically. No, I can't. Just go. Please. He sounded desperate. I didn't want to argue with him. I was scared of what he might do, so I started driving back the way we came. The whole way back, he was breathing heavily, whispering to himself, I can't do it. She's waiting. She's always waiting. When we got back to the dark, empty park, he finally calmed down. He took a few deep breaths. Before he got out, he leaned forward and pushed the wrinkled brown paper bag into the front passenger seat. Here, he said, you should have this, for your trouble. Then he got out, and without another word, he walked to the iron gates, slipped through an opening, and disappeared into the shadows of the trees. He was just gone. If that story gave you chills, imagine what's coming next. Tap the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're the first to hear the next true horror. Smash the like button if you survived till the end, and share this with someone brave enough to handle it. Until next time, stay safe if you can.